Alright, good morning team. I thought I'd make a really quick tutorial on how to create a persistent chat environment with some bonus features for those of us transitioning to online coursework here at Michigan State. The first thing you're going to want to do, we're going to use a service called Discord that's free, and a lot of our students are already highly invested in it, as I'll demonstrate at the end of this video. But free is the name of the game right now. So the first thing we're going to do is open a web browser, and we're going to go over to discord.gg. And I do realize that browser is small in this video. There you go, discord.gg. And you will click download for Windows so you can have the client version. The online version works in a pinch. You'll notice that you can open it right in your browser, but it's a little bit laggy, and anything that we can do to ensure smoothness for students, making it look like we really know what we're doing, is ideal. So go ahead and download the client and log in with your new Discord name, and you'll arrive at a screen that looks not unlike this screen. Though of course I've already configured my server, I'm willing to walk you guys through it as well. All you'll have when you start is a general chat room. That's just one chat room. It'll be empty. It'll look not unlike this. This already is pretty useful though. Persistent chat room. And what that means is anybody who joins this, and you can invite people, that option is right here. You see create invite. You can invite your students, and then they can see all of this. The chat room will log forever, and you can reference not only what you have done, but what discussion the students have brought to the table as well. If that's a part of the way you either grade your course, or if you want your students to be able to reference what happened on Monday when Wednesday rolls around. It's very, very useful in a variety of contexts. More useful still, however, you'll notice that my name appears in red. That's because I've set myself up as the administrator of this server, and I've assigned all of my students roles as well, which I'll get to in just a moment. This is something you want to do to keep all of your courses separate. So first you can go to server settings. Up here you saw that drop down arrow where you click right up here. And if you click roles, you'll notice I have a number of them. Everyone is the default role that Discord provides. It is every single person who comes into your server. We'll get to that in a minute. I am the administrator role. You notice that's locked on my server because this account has been given administrator access, but it's owned by a separate email address. That's because my @MSU email is the owner of this server, and I'm recording this video as my bardickknowledge@gmail.com persona that I play on my online video games with. It's how I interact with my students online. I teach the video game coursework. But you'll just tick the administrator box. As the owner of the server, you're the administrator by default. I do like making my name red so that I show up red in the chat to the students, which we saw earlier. You know, it's right here, that it looks like the person in charge when I post. All right. You'll want one role for each of the classes you teach and use this with. So I'm teaching ComArt Sci 396, 496, and MI, Media and Information 491. And you scroll down, there are permissions to assign each role. Generally speaking, at the role level, you don't want to give any administrative permissions to your students. It's not the student's job to kick people out, to ban people, to invite other people to the server. That's your job as the professor. You control this space like a classroom. They can change their own name. That way, if you need them to have their real name instead of their online nickname, they can do that here. But they can't change other students' nicknames. Some of this is just common sense management. They can read text channels and see voice channels. That's the whole purpose of this system here. And they can send messages in text. They cannot send text-to-speech messages by pinging the entire server. I've learned that lesson the hard way. My more savvy students will just start having Microsoft Sam shout things in my channel. That's not a good time. You don't want that. Again, it's not a student's job to delete messages from other students. That'll fall to you or to a graduate student TA. I do want them to embed links, attach files, see the message history logs. I want them to be able to ping everyone. And for some fun, we'll see how it goes. I want them to be able to use emojis and add reactions to messages so they can thumbs up when I make announcements. They can smile at when people make a joke in class that's relevant. Similarly, I want my students to be able to connect to voice channels and speak, but I don't want them to be in charge of muting people, secretly shadow banning people, also known as deafening people. And I don't want them to be able to move other students from channel to channel. But you can set all these permissions yourself. And again, they're the same across each of my 3 classes. But I have 3 different equally permissed roles, because then I've made 3 different chat channels. And you click the plus like I did a minute ago. You type class 4, we'll call it, as if I had a 4th class. And you'll notice I can tick the private box, and now, oh look, which students get to access class 4's text channel? Well, if I had a 4th role, I would add that here. But what I've done is I have made my MI 491 class over here, which is now grayed out, I admit, but you can see it barely back here. My MI 491 students have permission to access that chat channel, but they cannot access CAS 496 to bother those students at work. So that's why you make all the different roles, is you can give permissions to see each one of these channels individually. Then once you get in here, I've got a chat channel for my Wise Audio implementation class. We're also going to be posting a PDF of the lab sheet, and I'll also upload that to D2L, but it's referenced here as well. So there's one less system students have to interface with as they use this to work in groups. My online streaming class and my game audio class have their own discussion as well. This group's going to be discussing a book by Tim Summers. I'll let them know that in advance now. Monday's discussion, Chapter 2 of the Tim Summers book. Understanding Video Game Music. Alright, it's an excellent book for what it's worth. I'm really enjoying it in my class. But now everything that falls under this heading, underneath here, test message 1, right? Everything will fall under that heading. You notice I can delete individual messages. So if somebody, God forbid, says something inappropriate or does something that does require some sort of disciplinary action, you will have the control to ensure a smooth experience for students. Now, I don't anticipate that being a problem for anybody, but I always believe in planning for the worst case scenario in any online interaction. Now, the voice channels work the same way. You can make them private and only have certain roles access them. That's what I've chosen to do. I don't want my CAS 396 students bothering my seniors. And I've not made a voice channel for the MI 491 class because that will be a lot of one-on-one private messaging to students working on lab sheets that I don't need to transmit from me to the entire class by voice for that class. So you notice I just have not made a voice channel for them. But it's very easy. You just click join. And by default, Discord sets your mic to any voice activity and it picks up. You can see the green circle next to my name, Bardic Knowledge, means that Discord is detecting voice activity from me. Now, because I don't have any students helping me as part of this demo video, I'm transmitting to an empty classroom. But come Monday afternoon, I will be speaking to a room full of people joining this voice server. And there's an unlimited number of people that can connect to hear voice. I have been in servers of up to 300 people with no problems. If you click this Go Live button, we'll do that now here. What do I want to... Here. I will briefly... I'm transmitting now my video recording of my monitor to my students. Because I'm also video recording that content right now, it may not work because I'm running my video production software in the background. But it'll communicate your screen as well. So you can screen share, not unlike Zoom, but on a system that all the students are already invested in. And there's lots of other cool features this does, but the persistent chat for student group work, I think, is the important one under discussion here. And again, I can control all sorts of roles and permissions as who gets to post, who gets to talk in what spaces. If you click home in the upper left, and you as a new user will not be connected to all of these servers at once, of course. You can tell I'm pretty invested in this. Here I had a conversation with an orchestra director yesterday about what live streaming in the context of orchestration might look like for him. But this is now one-on-one communication that everybody doesn't see, independent of the server. That works for voice and for video as well. And here's one example of a well-organized Discord server that's very complex and not just one chat channel per class and one voice channel per class. But the Michigan State esports students have 4 welcome channels with rules for public behavior, announcements, how to get assistance with Discord if you're new, a private channel for staff meetings, and of course as one of the faculty advisors to this group, I have access to that, but I'll leave their messages private for the sake of this video. They've got some mod team stuff going on. They've got all sorts of administrative organizings, and then by video game, if you play Rocket League or Overwatch or League of Legends, you can see that this gets tiered and can become very complex if you want it to, but it does not have to be that way. You can keep things simple and have one chat channel per class and one voice channel per class. I'm going to disconnect from that voice server. And this is a good start to having a free persistent workspace for students. If anybody has any questions about this, you can reach me at thom1754@msu.edu. And I'm happy to help people as they adjust to an online environment. As for how I recorded all of this live from my PC, that's a different conversation, but if video output is something you're concerned about and want assistance with, I'm happy to assist with that as well. Just please reach out. Thank you.